Good morning. Welcome to healthierlife.tv. My name's Paul Bursey, and I'm with Warren.
Good morning. Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. It's Warren Connolly here, coming to you from a very sunny Sant André in Hungary.
Ah, what's it like the weather there? Did you say grey?
No, it's beautiful and sunny today.
Well, I want to be there then because it's a bit cooler in just
Yeah,
outside.
we've had that weather for 2 weeks now.
All right. Okay.
Overcast, cloudy, rainy, on and off. No, it still does. It doesn't feel like. I mean, even last night we put the heater on last night because it just doesn't feel like the end of May here. Like the end of spring. It just doesn't feel like it at all.
Not a night, no. But anyway, yes, let's get into today's subject. And today's subject is playing with the silent killer, I believe. Yeah. So what? Okay. So yeah. So what is the silent killer?
Dun, 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 dun. Chronic inflammation, folks. Chronic inflammation. If you ask most people in the nutrition world or the health world, and that they should understand what the silent killer means. And Paul and I will divulge a little bit deep as to why the term the silent killer. So yeah.
Because it's insidious.
Insidious. Oh, that's a big word.
It's
like marmalade.
It's one of the biggest enemies that we will ever face.
Sure.
It's okay to face that. Like we see movies, and we were talking about James Bond, weren't we, beforehand? And when whoever it is, the hero's journey as well.
Else we were talking about.
It's the same for every film. The reluctant hero, or in case of James Bond, he wanted to be the hero, but yeah. So things go wrong, and one of those things that goes wrong for us as human beings is inflammation. Now, on a day-to-day basis, inflammation is painful, uncomfortable. We're talking about aches and pains. And if that was just the end of it, then okay. We're pretty strong people, human beings. We're strong, and we could probably deal with the aches and pains.
Yeah, we're resilient, aren't we?
We are resilient, but the problem is, it's not the aches and pains that are the problem. They're just a sign of either things to come or things that are happening already.
Yes, and typically the aches and pains are to some level is acute inflammation.
I was going to come to some
degree, but not exclusively.
No.
However,
I mean, look, the bottom line is, why are we playing with it? I think it's just, I'd like to say a play on words, but but no pun intended. But it's a heading at the end of the day, and it is one of the noxious things that we deal with in life. That you either deal with it, or you let it slide, and then you pay the price later. Would you agree with that?
Definitely, and this is what most people tend to do, don't we?
Yeah, I actually think we're playing Russian roulette.
Yeah.
Because this one sometimes there's no coming back from.
Well, the thing is, people, you say we're playing Russian roulette, and people will go, yeah, okay, whatever. But unfortunately, sometimes we need to be faced with the bare and honest truth very often before we take action on something, right? I've seen it before where people, they become paralyzed, and then they want to do something with their lives, as opposed to doing it beforehand. Things like that. So very often we have to be faced head on with something dramatic or drastic in our lives before we start taking action with it. And if you were playing Russian roulette, you would be literally, defecating in your pants on each time you were about to pull that trigger, because you wouldn't know whether they were lost. What's that?
That's very polite.
Very polite, yeah. This is a family show.
Now, I mean, look, the thing is that I've always had a bit of a bee in my bonnet. Not that I've got one, as you can see, but it's a fact about the medical profession. Now, there's lots of fantastic people in the medical profession, and I'm not making aspersions about their character and things like that. What I am going to talk about is the way it's put together. Virtually everything is geared to reacting to symptoms.
True.
Okay, and I think they need to shift it round a little bit. In fact, quite a bit, so that we become proactive. And there was a classic example in this pandemic from day one. Not one person, right, that I came across on YouTube, Facebook, spoke about proactivity.
True. It's all reactive.
They said it's all about woe is me. This is what's happening, and now we're not saying that we haven't got to be reactive, because yes, you have to have the full arsenal of your tools and tricks and whatever it is you're going to do to battle, what we've been going through. However, from day one, what they should have been doing is taking a proactive stance. Okay? And that is improving people's immune system and eliminating inflammation.
Yeah.
Because the people that suffer the most were the elderly, and we know we don't have to go through why they suffer. Their bodies, with all due respect to everyone else, and I'm getting old myself, we're on the latter end of things. Okay? And when you're on the latter end of things, and especially people like in care homes and things like that, although the care staff do a fantastic job, they can't give them 24-hour care. To say it's just ridiculous. You can't, and you haven't got time to sit with them and make sure they eat properly and things like that. In most places, I've seen it live.
Unless it's a private care home. I lived in a private care home in the UK in Cheshire. I wasn't working there or one of the people that needed caring, but you can get that, yes, in a private one. But for the vast majority of elderly folks, they just don't have that 24-hour backup. So you're right.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way things are, and I'm not going to go down that route too much. But look, inflammation, it refers to the body's process of fighting against things that harm it. Okay, and most people don't pay attention to it. These things are things like infections, injuries, toxins, and you could go on and on. And what the body is attempting to heal itself. Now, on most occasions, it does it. Okay, if we're talking about acute inflammation, when you sprain your ankle or you get a cut, your body sends the fire brigade and everyone else, and the army and the police and the ambulance to the scene of the crime or the scene of the accident, and everyone's working away trying to sort it out. And most times with an acute inflammation, it's of short duration, from a few hours to a few days, and they've managed to put the fire out. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, typically, and this is one of the signs of if you're struggling with chronic inflammation, is those acute injuries don't go away, or they take longer to go away. For example, something I show people if they're retaining water, okay, a lot of water, and this is one of the symptoms of chronic inflammation, by the way. All right, is if you press on a point in your body, let's say you press on, I always get this wrong. Let's say you press on your forearm or somewhere like that. Okay, well, somewhere where there's some coloring. I mean, look at this. It's bleached, almost bleached white. But let's say you press on your body somewhere, on the knee or the legs or the stomach or somewhere, and you press on there and you take the finger away, and that color, that discolorization doesn't come back almost immediately. It takes some time. Then you're carrying water. And this is another thing, is that that's a sign of inflammation. So yeah, it's acute inflammation is a good thing, but if that stays and that doesn't go away in relevant time frame, then you know that there's something wrong within your system.
Yeah, I mean, look, the body's pretty good at getting rid of things.
Okay? It is, yeah.
They're dealing with hundreds and hundreds of pathogens and things like that every day.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't always help our body, do we? We don't.
No,
Sometimes we getting drunk for argument's sake is not good for your body.
Mm-hmm.
Done it loads of times, but it's not good for your body. Trust me. Smoking is another one. I mean, look, your body responds and it releases antibodies and proteins and increases the blood flow to wherever this acute inflammation is. Let's say it's a sprained ankle. A sprained ankle normally doesn't take too long to clear up. Okay, and but there are worse things that can happen. However, acute inflammation really isn't the problem. What is when it goes on to become chronic inflammation, which means you've had a long period of time where the same thing is there and it's gnawing away at your body, day in, day out. That's when it starts to go downhill. Okay.
Let me give you an example here quickly, which I was dealing with yesterday. I have a client, and I was doing some massaging with him yesterday, but he struggles with his one hand in particular, his left hand. His left hand gets quite inflamed, and he has the work that he does. He owns his own company, and he's outside a lot, and he builds gardens. Okay, and so he gets inflammation in his left hand quite a lot. So I've been helping him deal with that. And then yesterday he just disclosed to me, which he never did before, was when he was in his 20s, the same age as me. No. He was attacked by hooligans.
Oh, okay.
Defending himself, he had a stick, and he almost, unfortunately, poor guy. He put all of them in hospital, from what I understood. But he dislocated his left shoulder, and in those days, it was the same with me. You just didn't get things treated, and
just get on with it and leave it.
You're invincible, right? And now it's coming back to bite him in the ass, literally. It's directly related to the shoulder. So now that inflammation in the shoulder is so chronic that it's affected his posture, his alignment, and obviously now his hand as well. And his hand is experiencing pain and numbness and all kinds of things. So that if that was not treated and that was left, that would then, what they would do is it would start to destroy the cells in his body, which is already doing. It's destroying cells in the body. And this is another thing. This is another impact from chronic inflammation, is it starts to kill healthy cells. All right. And then this is what's happening in his body. So now I'm dealing with the shoulder. I've been trying to convince him for weeks that the hand is the symptom of the hand pain is directly related to the shoulder. Now he tells me yesterday that why it's the case, but I knew it from the beginning, and now I understand why, and now I can deal with it a little bit better. So that's just an example for anyone that's listening, that don't disclose or don't discount things that happen to you. And then if you think the pain is gone, that pain is gone, but you never treated it, it's there. There's something still there, and it's going to start affecting something else in your body.
It's going to reemerge.
It'll reemerge somewhere else. Yeah.
There's lots of things, like you can have a neck injury, a back injury, but you can't feel it up here, but you feel it in your legs. It's like, and that's why you have to at least get looked at and explain to a doctor or something like that about what you've done. Yeah. So, and at least it make you feel a bit better as well if they know about it. So when you get the first little twinge, you can go to him and say, "Look, I've got this twinge. Is it because of my neck injury or whatever it is?" So, but acute inflammation is normally short lasting, generally positive. We want it to happen, and it's part of the healing process. Mm-hmm. What it is, and another way of looking at it would be a skirmish. It's a skirmish. All right, there's an intrusion across your border, and you've got to get rid of these few little soldiers or guerrillas that are attacking you. But
it needs to be a skirmish. Yeah,
it's like an invading army.
Yeah, it's a full blown.
Keep getting worse, and they've found a way in. And it will get worse unless you. That's why you have to be proactive about things.
It's a great analogy, actually. Yeah.
Well, it is. you know, once they've found a way in, you know,
there's no stopping it.
There's no stopping it. And yeah. So acute information, when you send all these, the fire brigade and the ambulance and the police to the scene, it's a rapid response. It's a first line of defence. And all they're doing is looking to remove whatever the injurious thing is that's there, you know. And but it doesn't work all the time, and that's why we end up with chronic stress. Chronic inflammation. Which
chronic,
could be chronic stress as well, but you know.
Yeah, that could be end up being chronic stress. True. Oh, I think Paul inadvertently left the studio. So yeah, I mean, something. Yeah, I had a bit of a foobar there when I said that. You know, once that army invades, there's no stopping it. You can actually stop it. So you know, the easiest way and the best way to stop chronic inflammation. Well, there's more than one way. So I'm going to just carry on rambling here until Paul comes back.
Oh, I am back. I'm listening.
Okay, good.
I flicked the wrong button and it just went off.
I don't realize that. I saw you push something. So, you know, I was going to divulge as to how, you know, I had a bit of a slip there. I made a bit of a slip in that I said that, you know, when you were giving the analogy of the invading army, and then once they're in, they find a way and there's no stopping it. There's no stopping it until you stop it, until you decide to stop it. And there are ways you can stop chronic inflammation, and you can reverse the effects of chronic inflammation. And like giving another example back to my client, you know, my client is on what Paul and I consider to be the best nutrition in the world, okay, in our opinions. And he's taking that nutrition right now. Now with me massaging him and treating him and healing him and working with his mobility and his functionality of his body, I'm actually enabling that chronic inflammation to be reversed slowly but surely. And it may not happen overnight. It could take a while. But at the end of the day, if we keep working on it, what we're essentially doing is we're boosting his immune system through the nutrition. Okay, so that's keeping those little armies, those skirmish armies, those border patrols. It's keeping them fresh. It's keeping them strong. It's keeping them young. It's keeping them alive and alert to any other future acute injuries that they may need to deal with. So they don't have to continuously be spreading their resources thinner. And this is if you want to keep on with the picture of an analogy, and if I may, I'll paint a picture for you. If you think of a border anywhere and you have a border patrol and you have multiple skirmishes going on, that border patrol is then spread thin, and they have to call on resources. And as they call on more and more resources, the reserves or the bulk of the fighting force is being used for a purpose in which they're not designed to be used, which is to fight skirmishes. And that's because they're not being fueled sufficiently enough with the right armaments and weaponry and ammunition. So if you boost your immune system, you're giving those border patrol anti-inflammatory responses, which is natural for your body, to be able to fight that war, fight those skirmishes, and repel that inflammation. But if you don't deal with it in such a manner and you don't treat it, it just becomes overwhelmed at the end of the day. And then it's going to lead to other things. It's going to lead to, you know, autoimmune diseases potentially. It could lead to age-related diseases, and amongst other things, which I think Paul and I will get into a little bit deeper as we go along. But that's kind of the crux of it, really. If we want to try to paint a picture, it's don't allow yourself to be dealing with skirmishes all the time, because it's going to wear you out. You're going to get tired. You're going to get chronic stress. Your body will become stressed, and it'll become a mental issue as much as it will become remain a physical issue as well.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, look, it took me well over a year. I mean, I had 7 seats of pain before I started sorting out my nutrition properly.
Hi, Rosie, by the way. Rosie says hello.
Oh, hi, Rosie. Yeah, but it took me over a year to sort out my pains. Okay. Mm-hmm. And, you know, a lot of people think that there's going to be some magic potion that they could take once or twice and it goes away. you know, and it doesn't matter what sort of problems you have, whether there's sleep problems, inflammation problems. I mean, it's millions of different things, you know, and you have to work with someone who knows what they're talking about to be able to go through everything and keep checking back. And it's not, you know, sometimes it's not a case of just going to the doctor once and it's all over because he's given you some kind of prescription.
Yeah,
I mean, look, the world, your body doesn't work like that. All right, I don't care what anybody says. You know, I don't take anything. You know, if I take, as I say, you've heard me say it before, if I take 4 paracetamols in a year, it's a bad year.
I don't even really know what a paracetamol is like. I can't even tell you. Yeah, it's because I just choose not to go down that road.
No, I'm just saying. I mean,
yeah. I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
For me, it's an absolute last resort.
Yeah.
You know, and if I've got a headache, just go and lay down in the dark. You know, drink plenty of water. Go and lay down, have a kip. You know, and that's the end of it for me. You know, and it doesn't happen very often, so it's not. You know, but what I'm saying is, I know that there are people like, you know, with migraines and things like that. You know, and one of the places you need to look is at your digestion.
Yes.
It's a huge one that people don't realise, you know, and it's probably because of inflammation. So it's another, you know, it's another.
I would go so far as saying it's not probably because of inflammation. It is because of inflammation.
Yeah.
If it's something related to your gut, your digestion and that.
So going back to inflammation, it's so important. I mean, I think it's over half the people die from inflammation. Now, you won't know it as inflammation. What you'll know is high blood pressure, heart problems, stroke, and I think everything reverts back to nutrition in the end, and how you look after your body. You know, and
I mean, just think about, okay, what are the things? What are the impacts that chronic inflammation is going to have on your body? So just to add on to what you're saying, cancer, heart disease, rheumatoid arthritis, type 2 diabetes, obesity, and eczema. Eczema is another one as well.
Yeah. Eczema,
asthma issues.
Yeah,
moods, yeah.
Joints, the brain, the metabolic system.
Oh,
central nervous system.
Yeah.
It's all the cells, the cellular level.
Once the central nervous system becomes compromised, then where do we end up with that?
Yeah.
Degenerative, autoimmune degenerative diseases and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not being funny, but I don't think people realise that when I talk about proactivity, you can eliminate lots of things.
Yeah.
Really, you can eliminate lots of things. And the challenge we find is that people can't be bothered. Really? Well, you know, your last 20 years of life are going to be really painful. Do you really want that? Or do you want to, take half now, sit down with one of us and go through and try and improve your lifestyle and your nutrition, you know? Anyway, that's us as beside the point. But what I'm saying is get back to information. You know, if you've got things like, well, the trouble is you don't know what's coming if you don't take care of things. Okay. And, but what you need, you just don't need the border patrol. You need everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you watched a film called Leon, where it's the professional hitman.
Yes.
Gary Renault.
Yes.
And then there was Gary. What was
Gary? Was it Gary Oldman? No.
Gary Oldman was the bent detective, and he sent out for everyone. In other words, but in the case of your body, right? That's what we need. We need everything. So if you relate it to a military, you've got the Air Force, got fighters, bombers, you've got the artillery, okay? You've got the medics, okay? We're not talking about the normal infantry. You've got that as well. You've got the Navy. You've got special forces.
Armored vehicle division.
Yeah, special forces, which are cut up into all different things. to do
Parabats.
certain incisions or
Yeah.
pathfinders or people like that. It goes on, and when we talk about specialists. Now, in the case of information, the specialists are things like nutrition, um, de-stressing is another
your mental health too. Yeah, that helps us huge.
Because the thing is, we don't know if what you're suffering from, what I'm suffering from, or whoever it may be, whether it's mild or severe. So it takes a bit of time finding out what it is, It could be that you live in a city and your body's telling you it's time to leave the city, right? It could be that you're eating processed foods every day, or baked goods, or confectionery, or takeaways, fast foods, deep fried stuff.
Yeah, anything processed.
Don't get me wrong, you can have those things.
Oh, I do.
Yes, but only on a few occasions.
Yeah.
We all like different things, especially like curries from the takeaway and things like that. Much I like doing the curries myself, but
a good lamb vindaloo.
you're gonna cook me one when I visit Hungary. So, but as I say, things like hypertension, high blood pressure, these things will creep up on you really slowly, and all of a sudden you've got some things that may be irreversible, especially things like cancer, So if you've got anybody in their 20s, 30s, 40s, do something about it now, right? Because it takes time for all those years of abuse to your body to finally kick in. But when they do kick in, wow, you wish you had done something beforehand, I'll tell you.
True.
And that's the thing. So, you could talk about inflation forever. I mean, it's that such a larger subject. And but what we need to do is to educate people on what not to do and what to do.
And this is why we're here talking about this today.
Absolutely. So what would you suggest to someone? What were some of the causes as well? I mean, some of the causes that we haven't mentioned.
You touched on toxins, and that's you can even say goes as simple as living in a city, like you say, where there's pollutants in the air. There's free radicals that are all around us, and that from the foods that we eat that creates free radicals. So free radicals are literally like, just imagine little metal shards just chipping away at your body, and that causes internal scarring in your body and things like this. Alcohol, nicotine, drugs. I would say even pharmaceutical drugs can cause inflammation too. I mean, I've seen people on pharmaceutical drugs gain a lot of weight. Really, I have. I've seen people just blow up from taking pharmaceutical drugs. So that tells me immediately, now that I know. At the time I didn't know, but now I know. That's chronic inflammation. I mean, if you can't lose weight, if you really struggle to lose fat and regain the weight that you had in your youth, and that's inevitably there's going to be some chronic inflammation in your body that's going to be the cause of that inability to lose that fat. So also, lack of sleep is another factor. If you're not getting enough sleep on a regular basis, something that I've been struggling with is getting enough sleep of late. And Paul and I have had discussions about this, and I'm trying to factor out a way in my schedule so I can actually get enough sleep, because I understand the importance of getting at least a minimum 7 hours sleep a night.
Yeah.
At the moment, I'm still only able to get between 6 to 6.5 hours. It's okay for now, but it's not ideal for me.
No, it's not ideal. You're right.
But I'm at least figuring out a way to get to like 7 hours of sleep a day, in a go. So drugs, alcohol, nicotine. If you play contact sports, if you play contact sports like football or rugby or ice hockey, what else?
But to be fair though, Warren, footballers don't need to be tackled or get anything to go down.
Yeah, I think
they go down screaming. If they get touched on your chest, they get touched there, and they go down holding their face. How does that one work?
Yeah, football's more of it's a semi-contact sport these days. It's no longer. I actually heard.
I don't know what a contact sport is.
I heard a commentator the other day saying that in my day, if that tackle that happened in my day, that would have been fair game. You know.
I told you about the time I was refereeing playing football, and someone, he's trying to turn, and the bloke just caught him with his finger like that. He didn't scratch him, but just caught him like that. And he went, "Ref, he punched me." I said to him, I used to box. I'll show you what a punch is.
Get on your bike, son.
He actually came over at half time and apologised. He said, "I don't know what I said there." Why I do? It's because there's so much of it goes on. And
in the professional game, of course. Yeah.
And it's disgusting. Anyway, so
if you play contact sport, you need to look. It's imperative, even if you play on a casual basis, social rugby or something like that, social football. It's imperative you look after your nutrition and your immune system, because your body needs to heal. It
does.
It really does.
It needs to heal on a daily basis.
Yeah.
As well as a weekly and a monthly basis, and
every Sunday I have a clean day.
Yeah. So look, at the end of the day, you are an individual. You're unique up to a point, and you can. Well, no, up to a point, because we're the same, but we're unique as well.
Yeah.
So if you smoke, just sit back and think about it. Would it help you if you stopped or reduced or whatever? Again, with alcohol, think about it. If you drink Coca-Cola and other things like that every day, right? Then you've got to think about sugar levels and things like that, So, and chronic stress, being surrounded with stress all the time. All these things are very, very important, to take a look at. But you decide what you want in your life. But please, if you decide to smoke, which is cool, if you want to smoke, because it's your body, please don't come back in 30 years' time and say, "Well, I wish I'd listened to him." Just accept it and move on. But accept what happens later on.
At least in 30 years' time, you won't be around to hear it.
Oh, we know. I could be, actually. I could be. Can you imagine doing a Facebook Live when I'm 96? Yeah, that'd be. I don't think I've seen many older people do.
Look, I'd like to just add on to the mental stress and the mental factor as well, because over time, the more damage we do to ourselves physically and mentally, that's the brain is. The impact on the brain is less reversible than it is in the body. Absolutely. There's less chance of being able to reverse the impact on the brain than there is in the body. And I've said this before in one of our lives. I witnessed my father-in-law deteriorating, through disease, and when he was on his way out from this world. I mean, he had dementia, he had Alzheimer's, he had Parkinson's. He literally had the full house, in essence, and it was horrible, not just for him, but for the people around him as well. And for my wife to witness her father going down that road was horrible for her, and for our daughter as well. To see her grandfather in that state was not pretty. And this is unfortunately the effect of, a lot of it's to do with our diet, of course. And especially if you're eating processed foods and a lot of sugars and things like this, which he did typically, that's going to impact your inflammation in your body. That's going to impact the chronic inflammation. That's going to enhance the chronic inflammation in your body. And when that starts taking effect in your head and your brain, it's literally just one path that you're on. And you don't want to go down there. So if anybody has had somebody close to them in their family, Terry says my father was exactly the same. So, you want to make sure that the people that you have in your life today are aware of the consequences of chronic inflammation. We can do something about it. Unfortunately, like you touched on right in the beginning of this chat, Paul, it's not spoken about. It's really not.
No.
And the other factor is that people want a quick fix. They want something that is tomorrow or yesterday, and they don't want their life to change. They just don't want their life to change enough to be able to do something about it. I look at people around me now, and look, I'm not saying that they're wrong or anything like that, but my beliefs are different to what most people think in terms of how they're dealing with this pandemic at the moment and vaccinations and so forth. But I listen to people, ask people, why did you have the vaccination? Because I want to be able to go back to restaurants and cinemas and travel. And that is indicative of the way people think. Unfortunately, they're not willing to make the sacrifices to safeguard their own health. And I'm not saying that by not taking a vaccine, you're safeguarding your health. But what I mean is it's the way people think. It's that I want to go back to the way life was before. But when chronic inflammation really kicks ass, there's no way there's no going back to the way it was before. It's too late invariably. So deal with it now, as Paul said. Deal with it now. Do something about it. It's so simple. It's really not difficult. And all that's needed is a change of habits. Change your habits. And if you don't know how to change your habits, you've got two gentlemen on the screen right now talking to you that can show you how to change your habits. You can, and change your habits. It's simple as that.
Yeah. Come to mind, you talking there. It had nothing to do with what you were talking about. Just something flashed in my brain. And you talk to ladies, and ladies spend billions and billions of pounds, dollars, rubles, everything else on their skin, especially their face.
Yeah.
And I've got some news for you. That beauty starts on the inside.
It does.
Your radiancy does not come from using skincare. Right?
That's about ego.
Comes from being healthy inside.
That's just ego.
I know it is. I know. Yeah. I get it, and I understand it. No, I understand. But while you're working on that, and spending all this money at the beauty parlor and all that, which is fine, which is great. We all love that. But think about your inside and do something about that as well.
Please do something about it. Yeah.
And get rid of the information. And
then you'll look. And it goes back to what I was saying just now. When I was on my soapbox for a moment. It's just how people think, unfortunately. And we just wish that the message that we're sharing with people that get to listen to this message, whether they're watching now or the recording, or you've been shared, this message been shared with you, that you just look inside yourself for a moment and think about, what is going on in your body? Do you feel 100% comfortable with who you are inside, not outside, but inside? Aches and pains and your stress and your inability perhaps to concentrate and focus, your energy levels, because this is another big thing, is if you're lacking in energy a lot and you're finding yourself fatigued and tired all the time, that's another very significant indication of chronic inflammation as well. Yeah. So just take heed of what we're saying, and we're not here to force anything upon you. At the same day, if you know the information and you know there's something wrong with you and you still don't take action on it, well, c'est la vie.
Yeah. We can't do any more than that. So
inside Terry adds, what inside is what counts spiritually and physically. 100%. Couldn't have said it better.
Everything links.
Yeah.
So fantastic. Well, I think we've spoken enough about inflammation. So stop playing with this silent killer. Yes. Do something about it, right? And do something about it now. All right.
Please do.
If you need help, give us a shout. If you think this is useful, share it with someone else. Show the love, like, love, whatever, comment. and if you need anything, give us a shout. All right. So have a fantastic rest of the week and a weekend as well, and we'll speak to you soon.
And please remember to like, subscribe, and all of these things, depending where you are watching this from. And just as Paul said, share. Just share this message because more people need to hear it and understand. And if you want more information, go look it up. Go look it up for yourself, or come to us and have a chat with us. Have a coffee with us.
You're buying though.
I'll buy.
Yeah. Yeah, we can do a virtual coffee meeting. Yeah. So
yeah, exactly.
Especially if you're in South Africa or Hungary or something. Yeah, we can't. I'm not flying out there just for coffee, but
it's a good reason.
Anyway, have a fantastic week, everyone. See you later.
Yeah. See you next week. Bye-bye.